Shalom. First and foremost, I want to begin by giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua Ba'Hashem Merkakwe Dash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that taught us his truth, and much respect to the Akim out there laboring in his work, and peace and salutations to the hopefully elect that are scattered across the four corners of the earth. To you I say, Shalom. So yeah, man, as we inch closer and closer unto that perfect day, speaking about the return of our Lord Yahushua, the things that are written in the scriptures are going to become more and more manifest. It's going to become more and more clear to where it's not going to be any denial of the testimony of our Lord Yahushua, which we hold here at Great Millstone, and also the men that teach the same doctrine. At the end of the day, this is the only thing that's going to stand, because we say that we have the 100% truth up here, man. A more sure word of prophecy, in which you'll do well if you take heed, So you either get on this train and subscribe into the doctrine, or you get your ass ran the fuck over, man. That's what it's come down to. Doctrines are being destroyed every day with every prophecy that takes place. So at the end of the day, whatever you subscribe to that's not in line with the testimony of our Lord Yahushua, you're going to be sadly disappointed, confused, and ultimately embarrassed. Okay? So, with all that being said, let's go ahead and get into this lesson from blacklistednews.com, where it says government start calling for price controls, rationing, and CBDCs come next, and everything is leading unto the mark. Revelation 13 and 16. Everything is leading up unto that point, and we're sitting there showing you the things that are going on, the things that are transpiring in the earth, that's going to lead to this man implementing this damn chip. Because what is prophecy? It's the word of the Lord, man. And it's going to come to pass because these words are faithful and true. All right, so again, you either get on the train and get moving, or you get your ass ran over, So yeah, let's read some of this real quick. We're going to skip down to this point right here where it says these inflation events. It says these inflation events trigger a predictable set of dominoes in society as well as in economy and finance. Price spikes, diminishing savings, rising poverty, rising crime, and rising interest rates. This is then followed in most cases by failed rate hikes and more inflation, then more hikes, diminishing foreign investment and debt, foreign currency dumps, causing more inflation, plunging consumer spending, and job losses, man. You see, so when this inflation goes up, it's only going to act as a domino effect in which calamity after calamity after calamity is going to take place. As you read in Ezekiel, the 7th chapter. All right, because your money pretty much supplies everything that you depend on in this life, man. So once you start to lose the buying power of the dollar, and everything else is going to fall with it. So Ezekiel 7:25, destruction cometh, and they shall seek peace, and there shall be none. You see, once the dollar fails, all right, you're not going to have a way to sustain your current lifestyle. Then you're going to be seeking for relief. But it says, and there shall be none. So mischief shall come upon mischief. Let's read this in the NLT. It says, calamity will follow calamity. That's a domino effect. You see, rumor will follow rumor. They will look in vain for a vision from the prophets, as we're out now, giving you this decree, telling you that these things are coming, but you don't believe. So guess what? When the time of trouble hits, then that's when you're going to be seeking for what we were talking about. You're going to be desiring peace in that day, man, but there's not going to be none. This is the time to get this truth, to put away your wicked thoughts. That the scriptures say, let the wicked man forsake his thoughts and his ways, roughly paraphrasing, and the Lord will have mercy upon him. But for a lot of jakes, it's going to be too late, man. It says again, they will look in vain for a vision from the prophets. They will receive no teaching from the priests and no counsel from the leaders, because in that time, all right, it's going to be an evil time. The scriptures say, we're going to pretty much hide ourselves. The Lord's going to cause us to, he's going to cause our tongue to cleave into our mouth, and we're not going to be unto you a reprover. Let's get Amos real quick. Amos 5:13, where it says, therefore the prudent or the wise should keep silent in that time, for it is an evil time. You see? So when all hell breaks loose, you're not going to be able to find these prophets, the ones who have been trying to extend the Lord's mercy unto you, man, because we are the hand or the helpers of Yahweh Bashmal Shai, whether you know it or not. So yeah, in that time, it's going to be too late. You're going to seek a vision of the prophets in vain. So right now, you should be 14, seeking good and not evil. And what's good? This doctrine. This more sure word of prophecy. That ye may live, and so the Lord Yahweh by Shema Shah, the power of armies or hosts, shall be with you as ye have spoken. So departing from evil and subscribing to this truth, this doctrine, well, in a time of destruction and famine, you're going to be preserved from these said perils, as it's written, in the book of 2nd Esdras, the 9th chapter, right? So let's go back into this article real quick. So it says, yes, these inflation events trigger a predictable set of dominoes in society as well as in economy and finance. Price spikes, diminishing savings, rising poverty. Yeah, rising poverty, which goes into what the famine creeping in. Rising crime rates and rising interest rates. Now this is scriptural. Okay, let's go ahead and get that real quick in the book of 2nd Esdras. I think the 15th chapter. Okay, and we'll just start at verse 14. It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. For anyone who is dwelling within this system, who takes comfort within Esau, the so-called white man society, by subscribing to America continuing, where it says woe or death and destruction unto you, man. It says, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people should stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. Yeah, so once the resources get tight, of course that's going to have the people out here in a state of frenzy to where the love of men is going to wax cold, because they're not going to be able to maintain their lifestyle. And that's when you're going to see people turn on each other, man. Right? And as a matter of fact, let's get this real quick and we'll go right back. 2nd Esdras 6:24, which says, at that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies. You see that? Friends going to fight one against another like enemies. So the Lord's going to make you niggas that say that you love everything. You just want peace for everybody. Well, in that day, we're going to see how much you love your neighbor when the famine hits. When you don't have the necessities, should I say, to supply your family, man. All right? It says, and the earth shall stand and fill with those that dwell therein. You see? The springs of the fountain shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run, right? Because in that time, the Lord's going to take away the springs of living waters, right? This truth, okay? So it's an evil time that's coming. And if you don't have this testimony, then you're going to be perplexed, bugged out. You're not going to know what to do. So let's go back 2nd Esdras 15, and we'll start at verse 15 again. Slack it. For the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and with swords in their hands. For there should be sedition among men, and invading one another. All right, they're not going to give a damn about the government. And it says they should not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So they're going to do whatever they can do according to that means, according to the power that's in their hands, to obtain some kind of comfort or relief, man. So it says a man should desire to go into his city and should not be able, because the chaos that's coming is going to lead to another, it's going to lead to military troops being called in to corral this chaos, to put the people back in order, man. So the city's going to be cut off to where there's going to be a fucking famine going on for real. See? So it says a man should desire to go into his city and should not be able, because of the blockades and siege. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men should be afraid. It says a man should have no pity upon his neighbor, as we just read. Neighbors should fight against each other like enemies, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and then spoil their goods because of the lack of bread, man, and for great tribulation. Because having a lack of bread will cause you to have an evil eye, man, towards your best friend, even towards your family, if you're not right, man. That happened during the time of 7 AD, and you can read about that in Deuteronomy 28, I think 52 on down. It might be up above it, but once you read into that, it goes into how treacherous family members were during the time of a famine. And then you also going to have cannibalism going on. See? So these are the times that we are coming into, in which, the elect in these times will be preserved, through this knowledge and this wisdom. So 2 Edges 2, and we start at verse 25, says, "Nurse thy children, O thou good nurse, and establish their feet." And yeah, so this wisdom, which is nourishing us right now, is establishing our feet to where, we're going to be able to stand in that day, And so it says 26, "As for the servants whom I have given thee, there shall not one of them perish, for I will require them from among thy number." And that's going into the elect, all right, opposed to the 2/3 who will be given over into the famine and the hell that's going to break loose. So it says, "Be not weary, for when the day of trouble and heaviness cometh, others shall weep and be sorrowful, but thou shalt be merry and have abundance." See? And that links up with Isaiah 65:13 on down. "My servants shall eat, but they shall be hungry. My servants shall drink, but they shall be thirsty." So the ones who gravitated to Yahushua in these times, the ones who abide within his testimony, are not going to suffer these things, to this extent, because they will be given these necessities that these other people will lack. It tells you in the book of Revelation 6 chapter about the oil and the wine. Hurt not the oil and the wine, man. What's golden to the ones that had its truth. As there's going to be, rationing and a famine take place. All right, yeah, Revelation 6, and we'll start at verse 6. It says, "And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see thou hurt not the oil and the wine." And this is pretty much going into rationing. All right, this word, let me see, penny right here goes into denarian, or denarius, containing 10. All right, a Roman silver coin. In New Testament time, it took its name from it being equal to 10 asses. A number after 217 BC increased to 16. And so it says it was the principal silver coin of the Roman Empire. From the parable of the laborers in the vineyard, it was seen that a denarius was then the ordinary pay for a day's wages. All right, so a penny is going to equal to what? A day's wages, inflation. Okay? And that links up with Ezekiel the 4th chapter. Let's go ahead and get that real quick. It's going to get real bad, man, real soon. Ezekiel 4 and verse 16. NLT, "Then he told me, Son of man, I will make food very scarce in Jerusalem for you Israelites. It will be weighed out with great care and eaten fearfully. The water will be rationed." See, the water will be rationed out drop by drop, and the people will drink it with dismay. And that talks about the Mississippi River drying up and salt water going to the river also, to where, the drinking water has been contaminated. So the Lord's going to take away all the resources, man, and what you're going to have to either go to Esau for these things, or you're going to depend on Yahweh Shema Shai. You see? So it says again, and the people will drink it with dismay. Like, God damn, this all we get? Lacking food and water, people will look at one another in terror, and it will waste away under the punishment. See? So by having a lack of food and water, you're going to have these niggas turn against each other, man, as you just read. Like, God damn. Yeah, Big Shirley going to be Little Shirley at that time, man. So that's what's coming. So I just want to go through that real quick, so Lord willing, you're edified. Till next time I say Shalom, DTA, and the Ball soon.